Hey there friends, it's Mark from Men Who Bullet. Thanks for hanging out with me for another weekly plan with me as I set up my week inside of my bullet journal. This week we're going to be using stamps to create spaces. So last week we used some of these inks, just like the little ink blot here. These are the entire set from the Ink Block shop, which I'm really excited to be working along with. I just became an affiliate with them. I'll put my links and stuff in the descriptions below, but this is the art and craft icon set here. Love these designs. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm actually going to use some of these elements on here to create spaces inside without necessarily having to draw hard lines. We're mostly going to be doing that on the left-hand side of this page. So what I'm going to do is use this pen stamp that's here, and we're going to be using that to separate out each one of our spaces here for the week. So I'm going to be doing a Monday through Friday setup here. All of those will be here on the left-hand side of the page. And then the rest of the page here is going to be just for my brain dumps. I've really been loving doing these because it's a great way to start my week and kind of get everything out of my head and on here. And then what I'm going to do is use the little like washi tape here, and I'm just going to create like little things that look like pieces of paper, I guess is the best way to put it. It'll all look great when we're set up. But let me show you how I set up this page first, in case you are creating this inside of your own B5 notebook. You can also, of course, do this in a smaller size notebook. I have my cheat sheet in the back of my bullet journal that I use. I actually did an entire video where I showed you how to set up the spacing inside of a B5, a square, and also an A5 size notebook. So I'll put that in the descriptions below for you as well, in case you want to set up your own at home, and that way you can kind of follow along with what we're doing. So I have my Rocket book here. I've been loving using this for my ideas and my sketches, because what's cool is that I can take a picture of this with this little guy here, and I save it inside of my phone. So as I come up with new ideas and things, I just have a place to remember it, because I'm getting kind of close to the end of this notebook now and time to erase everything on here. So since we're going to be doing a 2-page spread, I'm just going to draw a big old rectangle here to show you exactly what this spacing is going to look like. So we'll start with the left-hand page first. So last week I actually used this 5-row setup to set up where I was doing my stamps across the page here. I liked that, and I wanted to try it for the entire week. I also needed some space, so when I put in those stamps, I have space in between these boxes to do so. So this is what we're going to do on our left-hand side of the page. We have 3 spaces at the top here. We'll probably just put like the date. And then we're going to do 7 boxes. That'll be for the space. And then we're going to skip 2. And then we're going to do another 7. Skip 2. 7. 2. 7 until we get our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. That'll take you all the way down your page. So from the very top, going down 3 spaces, and then going down and counting out the spaces will take you right to the bottom of your page here. Now for the columns on this page, I'm actually just going to use this pen stamp as the marker. So the width of this pen will be how wide my boxes are on the left-hand side, and then I'll just have the rest of that space for my brain dump. I do have a little bit of space for that over here. The pen end will show us where that line is, and then I'll create the rest of the space from there. Now on this other side, we're just going to keep it nice and easy. We are actually going to be using some of the stamps and some lines to create those spaces. So I'm going to create 3 columns here. And what I'm going to do is actually use this spacing here. So it's going to go 10, and then there's going to be 1 square in between each of these, 10, 1, 10. Because what I'm going to do is essentially create like a little notepad type deal using one of the stamps that's inside of this kit. So I'll end up having 3 of these notepad looking deals across my page. Let's go ahead and just take a look at it so we can show you exactly what that's going to look like. So that'll go over in this space right here. You might be able to see the little pencil marks that I have here. So they're going to be kind of thin. I thought about doing it, just breaking this page in half, but I thought, you know what? Let's keep really nice long lines here. That'll kind of look pretty cool too. And I get to use the stamp a little bit more than I usually would. So the first thing that I'm going to do just to create those visual lines is I'm actually going to lay down my stamp first, because the stamp is really what's going to help separate each of these squares or these rectangles on the page as we go down. So for this week, I have a much bigger block. It's probably one of my bigger blocks that I have. I probably could have went a different size, but that'll at least handle anything that I'm going to use here. But I'm going to use this click pen. So that is going to go across here, and that's just going to be a really cool separator all the way up the top here. So I'm going to lay that down on my block, And this has a grid on it. I should probably use the grid just to make sure it's nice and straight. Just gonna use black ink this week. I used blue last week and it was fine, but you know, black ink is just a nice and easy go-to. And now I need to pay attention and focus so I don't mess this up. What's great about the clear stamps and also having the clear block here is I can actually see through the stamp. My goal is to try to fit it like right here on this dotted line that's here. All right, so we have all of these, and then I'm actually just gonna use the space inside the pen to actually write the day of the week. And then all the spaces in between here will be what we use for kind of the whole weekly. Looking at it, this is kind of small. So I actually realized that I did put a dot over here. So let's go ahead and count real quick, just so I can show you how many spaces I went across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it ends up being 19 spaces across here, which how close are we when we split it in half? So it's a little bit more than we usually do for half of the page, which I think is fine. It'll give us plenty of space here for our brain dump, essentially. I'm going to be using these extra small Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen today, just because I don't want to take away from the cool lines and things that we have going on here. I am, though, going to create just a thin line over here on this side of the page, which will just help me separate this space here from where my brain dump is gonna be. Left little space here. So inside of this pack, there's also a really cool, just like a scribbly mark that's here. I could technically do this myself, but I have the stamp kit out, so why not use it? We're just gonna find the center of the page. And that's going to stand for our brain dump. We'll put in all of our titles in just a second. Let's go ahead and work on this side of the page here. So each one of these is going to be 10 across, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the center. I just want to mark that on these because that's where I'm going to have to put and just make sure that my little washi tape deal is my stamp. We'll go back and erase that, of course, when I'm done. But yeah, inside of this stamp kit, there's actually a few of them. We've got one here, and we've got a little one here. We also have one with some pattern inside of it. Some with dots. You know what? Let's do the one with the lines inside of it. That's kind of fun. Let's go ahead and just stick this on here. All right, so we found our center line there. All right, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to draw my line through, or touching, not actually going through the washi tape deal there. And then I'm just gonna create my really long little notepads. And then let's go ahead and just write in the days of the week inside of our little pen deals. All right, Monday through Friday, we have our brain dump section here that we created. And then we have our little task notes, all other things happening here. So the last bit is just going to be cleaning up our page, which is one of my favorite parts, and making it look all nice and neat. Not a whole lot of lines to erase this week because we kept it pretty easy. So there we go, Monday through Friday over here on the left. We got a brain dump section and then all of our spaces here for our notes and our tasks throughout this week. So super excited. Thanks for hanging out. Again, if you like this video, check out the rest of my previous episodes of Plan With Me here. You can check out everything you're doing week to week, setting up our weekly bullet journal right here on YouTube. So thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll talk to you next week. See ya.